Hello, my name is Lily and I just finished my exchange semester at Taylor's University in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Overall, I can say it was an amazing experience, but I will get into that more throughout this video. The semester started at the beginning of April instead of the beginning of February like in the Netherlands. That gave us time to travel around Southeast Asia for roughly 2 months before. And when I say we, because I will do that probably more often in this video, I talk about me and 2 other students from The Hague University, so Selina and Ella. Selina is also from Germany, the same as me, and Ella comes from the Netherlands, more specifically Haarlem. And no matter where we went and traveled to, she made great advertisement for the Netherlands, especially Haarlem. So who knows, maybe in the upcoming year there will be an increase in tourism. Alright, but all jokes aside, the 3 of us already knew each other before, but during this semester our bond really grew on another level. We rented an apartment together, so we were not only friends, but roomies. And that was truly amazing, that's what I can tell you for sure. The good thing about our apartment was that it was very close by to the university, and it took us around 10 minutes to get there. Which means I could sleep a little bit longer in the morning. I didn't have to wake up so early. What I noticed in terms of important cultural differences and similarities between Germany, so my culture, and Malaysia, is that Malaysia is a bit more conservative in comparison. For example, it was not allowed to bring over male guests into our apartment. It was literally written in the contract. But we asked some people, and apparently in our building they were not so strict with it, and nobody turned an eye if somebody did. However, generally speaking, I would say female and male are not living together outside of marriage. And visiting the other gender in their homes is also not very common. With the younger generation now, that aspect changes a bit, and more people start visiting their boyfriends at home, for example. But Malays still act more conservative in that aspect, especially in comparison with Germany. Another thing I have to mention here is that there are 3 main cultures living in Malaysia, very peacefully right next to one another. We have the Malay, we have the Malay Chinese, and we have the Malay Indian. And that's what I really like about the country. All types of religions are practiced and all kinds of cultures are lived. Another difference that I notice is that public affection is more limited. And overall, people are more private about it in the Muslim regions. For example, holding hands is okay, kissing is not. And regarding alcohol, it is possible to drink and also purchase it in selected locations. However, drinking alcohol outside designated bars or clubs, or sometimes even in resort areas, it's not allowed. The reason behind this simply is that in Islam, alcohol is haram, which means that it is forbidden. One similarity that I noticed is that Malays take off their shoes before entering a home of another person. And actually, we in Germany, we do the same, because it's just a demonstration of respect for us. The reason is that the soles of the shoes are considered unclean as they've been in contact with the dirt of the street. Thus, before entering any home, Muslim or otherwise, it's almost universal practice, I would say, to remove footwear before stepping into one's home. Another difference is that Muslims and Indians avoid using their left hand for human contact or also eating. But we in Germany, actually, we use all of our hands, so both. Furthermore, if you have a really polite Chinese waitstaff or like a shop owner, they might hand over the change that you get with both hands instead of only one. I noticed that in quite some situations, and I started to do the same after a while because I realized that this is a form of respect for the other person. I have to say that in some situations I adjusted my behavior, especially the way I talk. In Germany, I would be more direct during a conversation. I would just go straight to the point and say what's on my mind. In Malaysia, however, I was a bit more indirect in my communication and in my overall approach. For example, at Taylor's University, during group work, there we had a situation and I wanted to give some feedback. And then I noticed in myself that I was way more indirect than usually, and I didn't directly say if I didn't like something. So I talked more around the bush, as one would say, so that my group member wouldn't feel offended, because that's literally the least thing that I would want. For example, one time, I didn't like the idea for a marketing communications campaign so much. And instead of simply saying that I don't like it, I just said that maybe we can brainstorm a bit more. What I realized in these interactions with my classmates and also with my teachers was that whenever people are shy, they start to laugh. I mean, I knew about it already at the beginning of my semester. I knew that people in Asia tend to do this, but experiencing it myself, it was still a little bit different. The first few times when they started laughing, I didn't really know how to react and I was a bit confused. But the more I got to know them and the more I realized that it's just an expression of discomfort in that particular moment. It doesn't mean that they think that something is actually funny. So I got used to it after some time and I adapted my expectations about uncomfortable situations in general. What I have learned during my exchange semester is that people in Malaysia are a bit more relaxed when it comes to the way of working and doing things. Of course, there are exceptions. For example, the people on a scholarship at Taylor's University, they were very hardworking people, I can say, from what I experienced and from what I've heard. Overall, though, it is a bit more laid back and people are a bit shyer to express their opinion. And that caused me to be the leader of group projects in many classes, which gave me basically the opportunity to grow further. So for me, it was great. It was a good experience. I spoke up in class very often and I really noticed the difference. I mean, in the Netherlands, I also participate actively during the class, but I would say now in comparison with Kuala Lumpur, not as much. And because here in Kuala Lumpur, it was a lot. In some cases even, the teacher was only looking at me or also only looking at other exchange students, as they knew we share our opinions more often and we tend to engage in class conversations. Looking back, I realized how much fun I had during the classes in which I participated the most, and my goal is definitely to keep that up in the Netherlands to this high level. The topics we talked about, they just stick better in my brain and time literally flew by. All in all, I really grew as a person in a personal but also in a professional way. I became more confident and I grabbed every opportunity that I could get. So at the end, it was definitely worth it. And I can really recommend you doing your exchange semester in Malaysia as well. I mean, you never know what comes next. It might be a cockroach in the apartment. Because actually, oh my gosh, we had so many cockroaches. Every week there was a new one. So that was a little bit crazy. But you will get used to it eventually. You learn how to deal with it. Or you could also see a turtle in the lake of the university. Because we had all kinds of animals in there. We also saw some lizards one time. So what I'm trying to say is be prepared to see and witness all kinds of animals. And be prepared for an absolutely amazing experience. Thank you so much for listening. And I really hope that you consider Malaysia as your choice for an exchange semester. All right, bye-bye.